This is an instructional video on identifying whether something is a function or not a function. The definition of a function is when the input values are only used once. When I'm talking about the input values, I'm talking about the x values. We have x and y coordinates. We only look at the x values. So here we're talking about a player's jersey number, which is the input. Input is x, output is y. So we're only looking at the input values, only the x's. And they are 10, 13, 14, 18, and 21. All of the numbers are different, and so it is a function. Typically, you're going to have to tell why. It is a function because the x values, the input values, are only used once. So again, we're listing the input and the output values. Input is x, output is y. We're only looking at the x values. So we have 3, 3, 5, 5, and 6. This is not a function because 3 and 5 are used more than once. Remember, to be a function, the x value can only be used one time. Now, for a graph, we can connect these dots, and then we're going to do what is called the vertical line test. The vertical line test is where you draw a line going up or down. And it can only touch the picture one time. Remember, the x values can only be used one time, so our line can only touch the graph one time. It doesn't matter where you draw your straight line. You can draw your straight line anywhere on the picture. And if you look, the line touches here at the top and down here at the bottom. It touches 2 times, so it is not a function. And you can say because it does not pass the vertical line test. So here we have another graph, so we're going to do the vertical line test again. We're going to draw our line going straight up and down, and if you look, it only touches the image one time. So that is a function because it passes the vertical line test. Only touches the graph one time. Here we have another graph. So again, vertical line test. You can draw the line anywhere on the graph. It goes straight up and down. It only touches the image one time, so it is a function. It can only touch the graph one time because the x values can only be used one time. And we can say it passes the vertical line test for our reasoning. Again, another graph. Anytime you have a graph, you use the vertical line test. So again, we draw our line going anywhere as long as it's going straight up and down. And it touches the image 1, 2, 3 times. So this is not going to be a function. It is not a function. because it does not pass the vertical line test. It touches the graph 3 times. Now, these are called maps. When you have a map, the x value, the input, is listed first. The y value, the output, is listed second. So here you can see that 68 has a line going to the right and it has a line going down. That means 68 is being used 2 times. The input values can only be used 1 time. So this would be not a function, because 68 is being used twice. The number 68 is going all the way down here to 18, and it gets paired with 10. It cannot be used more than once. Again, this is another map example. The input is the x values, the output is the y values. Looking at this map, the 1 only has 1 line, the 2 has 1 line, the 3 has 1 line, and the 4 has 1 line. This is a function because all the input values are only used 1 time. When we're given equations to be a function, equations have to be in y equals mx plus b form. This equation is in that form. The m value is -4, the b value is 9, and the y and the x are in the same positions. So yes, this is a function. We call this equation y equals mx plus b slope-intercept form. For this problem, y equals mx squared plus 36. This is a function. Okay, when you have exponents, the x value can be an exponent. Y cannot. The only exception is if you have x squared and y squared. So x has an exponent, so that is fine. The y value cannot have an exponent unless both of them, x squared and y squared, have exponents. So in this case, this is a function because x has an exponent, but y does not. Now when it comes to points, remember we're looking at those x values. The x number is first, the y number is second. We're only looking at the x numbers. So -2, 3, -4, -2, and 0. We're only looking at the first numbers. This is not a function because -2 is used more than once. The x values can only be used 1 time. Again, with point values, we look at the x value, the first number only. So looking at 3, 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all different. They're all used 1 time. And so this is a function because the x values are only used once.